I'm Megan Williams, and this is the Friday edition of The Current.
The pants are very long, and the coat is very long as well, and it's very ample. In addition to my own natural padding, I add the extra padding. I have to tuck the beard out of the way to snap the collar. It's very much a Santa suit.
Ottawa's Michael Morin is getting used to his new role as Santa Michael, bringing Christmas cheer to people most in need in Canada's capital. Morin is a lifelong public servant close to retirement. But this December, he's trying on something new. For the first time ever, Michael has been getting dressed up in a vintage Santa costume with a special lineage. Its first owner was Jimmy Lomax of Hamilton, Ontario. He was admitted into the Order of Canada for his decades of charitable work as Santa Jimmy. Now Michael is donning the cloak of that legacy. The Current's producer, Kristin Nelson, met up with Michael Morin. Here's her documentary, Becoming Santa.
Hello. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Come on in.
All right. Very festive in here.
Yeah. I started actually a little earlier than usual. Put up the new Christmas tree and the decorations, new stuff, old stuff I painted myself, like the cookie jar right there. Now, I'm just going to finish my face before I start getting dressed. Because, see, like I said, the suit is really warm, so that goes on last. It's really stunning. I mean, it's made of wool. It's lined with satin. It's trimmed in sheepskin. I figure it's about 45 years old. I don't know the exact age of it. But I know Larry had it since, I think, about 2010.
My name is Mike Hutchings. I'm a musician from Hamilton, Ontario, and Santa Larry Lantz was my husband. I used to joke that our house was the island of misfit toys because you'd go there and there'd be the oddest assortment of people that Larry met, just, lost souls who needed someone to talk to or someone to listen to them. And that was basically who Larry was. He was head of a charity called Santa Canada, which provided hospital visits or hospice visits or home visits for children with terminal disease year-round. For several years, he was actually in Hamilton, the official Santa for Autism Ontario, and he would do low-stimulus visits with Santa. Well, Larry and I always enjoyed having households filled with people. So we threw house concerts in our house. Our living room is quite large, and we also have a beautiful backyard with a deck and everything. So during the summer months, we'd have the house concerts out on the back deck.
We did a house concert at him and his husband's house. And that evening, we met Larry. And on the front porch of their house, Larry told us about the work he did. And that was the only conversation I ever had with Larry, was about him and his work. And I was fascinated.
Larry was in between chemotherapy treatments. He was declared tumor-free at the time, but things were not quite right. So Larry was very quiet that night, and Michael tends to be a very quiet, very private individual too. So they just sort of gravitated towards each other. I had a household filled with people, a household filled with big, brash personalities, and Michael and Larry just sort of connected that night.
Of course, it left an impression. I thought it was wonderful work that he did.
By the time the evening was done, Larry was very, very tired, and I actually had to physically carry him up to bed. The next day, I called the oncology team and said, hey, look, we need to see a doctor soon because things aren't good here. It was 6 weeks after they met that Larry passed away. And on his deathbed, we had the will, but there was just a number of items that were not covered in the will. And I just sort of said, so what do you want me to do with all the Santa stuff? We had multiple suits, we had boots, we had belts, basically all the ephemera one would expect the jolly old elf to carry with him at any given time. And he outlaid, specific things. And then one of the last things he said, I want you to keep the Jimmy Lomax suit and give it to Michael Morin when he's ready.
I only found out about the suit basically 2 years after he died. Based on the little conversation we had on that front porch, he basically chose me.
You got to do it for the children. You got to give them faith and give the parents hope.
Yes, Virginia, Santa Claus is a steel worker. His name is Jim Lomax.
The suit was first owned by Jimmy Lomax, and he was Hamilton's official Santa for decades.
I wanted to be a Santa Claus when I grew up.
A dream he pursued while he worked for close to 38 years at Hamilton's Stelco plant.
This Santa visits places like hospitals and nursing homes.
In 2002, he retired to become a full-time Kris Kringle.
Makes me feel great.
Yeah, I've actually seen some of the patients the most happiest they've ever been.
When you get up to heaven, the good Lord isn't going to say, how much money do you have in the bank? We invest in people.
Jimmy ran a organization called Operation Santa Claus, and he would fundraise for the entire year for children who were in hospitals, children who were in abject poverty, and he would provide a Christmas for these children. You know, he was a size 6XL towards the end of his life, and his heart was just as big. It was just incredible. When Jimmy got too sick to run the charity and also got too sick to be Santa Claus, he reached out to Larry and Larry's friend Santa Bob and just basically asked us to help him carry on the charity and spirit of Christmas for him. So that suit is the one that Larry wore towards the end of his life. So it's nice to see the legacy of Larry. It's nice to see the legacy of Jimmy Lomax continuing on anew in a new city and with a new heart behind it.
Earlier this morning, I started what Tim Allen called the sanctification process. My beard is still a little bit salt and pepper, so it needs a bit of help to really look authentic. So I use theatrical hair paint.
So how long does the sanctification process take?
First time, it took about 2 hours, just because it's still relatively new to me and I'm learning as I go. All right, so next is the padding. I do have a bit already, but my doctor wants me to get rid of that, so. The suit was made for Jimmy, and Jimmy was not a small man. He also had a very endearing face, which is what enabled him to portray Santa so genuinely, and he had a big heart.
I began seeing what Larry meant by when Michael is ready, give him the suit.
I do remember that when we came home, that's all I could talk about with my friends and coworkers, that I met this wonderful person that did this amazing work, dressed as Santa Claus.
You just began seeing things in Michael's demeanor and how he was changing, dressing differently, and had grown out his beard to be a little bit fuller. And he began twisting his mustache into the handlebar shape. And then I messaged him and just sort of said, so when you're ready, I've got some stuff here at the house for you. And he immediately knew what I was talking about.
Honestly, I was in tears. I was on the bus heading to work, and I was in tears. That day, December 23rd, is the anniversary of my father's death. He passed away in 2003. Being 2 days before Christmas, it was really hard. And my father was always a big fan of Christmas. He would put up lights everywhere, and I do mean everywhere. And I have really amazing memories of Christmas because of my dad, of stuff that he would do. Like he would actually go on the roof and make sleigh tracks and reindeer footprints and stomp around so that we'd be in the bedroom below and we would hear stuff. Christmas really holds a special place in my heart. It always has. And doing this now is, even more special.
I was actually overjoyed to see the suit being used. I knew that the bug had bitten him when he tried on the suit, and I gave him time. I went down to visit with the other folks in the house and just sort of said, take a bit of time. If you want to try it on, go ahead. And he came down with the suit bag that had everything in it. He came down the box that had everything in it, and he came down with tears in his eyes. It was a definite connection that went a lot deeper than, the suit fits. It's a state of heart, I think, is the best way I can describe it.
I guess I'm looking more and more the part. A couple of weeks ago, my mom and I were at Costco, and we just walked by this mother with a young child sitting in the cart. The child was about 2.5 years old, and she just looked at me, walked by, and said, "Ho, ho, ho." That's all she said, and I really like that. I really embrace that. At first I didn't know how to react, but now I'm just rolling with it and just having fun, and they think it's Santa, so I love it. Next, I need to put a little makeup on my face just to make my cheeks a little red and my lips a little darker. So I do have to be careful to go really, really light.
You made sure to get the cherry nose, I see.
Yeah, exactly. To make sure that I look like I've just come off the sleigh. So next, I need to put the boots on, and I need to tuck the pants inside the boot. There we go. I add these boot toppers, and voila, instant Santa boots. Here we go. I sometimes get very emotional. I don't know if you can see on the wall there beside my nightstand, there's a picture of me sitting on Santa's lap. I found that photo about 15 years ago in my parents' basement. So now it's framed beside my bed. My own memories of Christmas are so amazing that if I can bring that to people in general, yes, I do want to focus on children in the hospital and stuff like that, but any occasion is a great occasion to bring the Christmas spirit. So I will be going to visit this child, 11 years old, who will be at home and who has severe health issues. The family doesn't know if he'll make it to Christmas or not. I'm told that he loves to have stories read to him, so I have a collection of Christmas books that I'll bring along and read to him, and just spending quality time. When I first found out about the suit, I knew right away that I wanted to do this, to follow in Larry's footsteps. And yes, I was nervous at the thought of doing those kinds of visits. But now that it's happening, the nervousness isn't there. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I know it'll be emotional, but it just feels right. I knew the suit belonged to Larry, but when I found out where it originally came from, I got really humbled by the whole thing, and to think that I'm following in the footsteps of these great Santas, these great people. Yes, I do feel that I'm part of their legacy. And I have to tuck the beard out of the way to snap the collar, and then it's just finishing touches. One of the last things is the gloves. These also came from Larry. They're white leather gauntlets. I may or may not wear these. Generic reading glasses from the dollar store. And when I saw those, I said, okay, those are meant for Santa. So basically that's it. I'm ready to go.
Hello, Mr. Santa. I'm Lynn. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Ho, ho, ho. Beautiful Santa Claus with the beard, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love that. I'm sure the resident will be all happy. My name is Lynn. I'm the director of care. This home is a home with people in special needs. They're schizophrenic people.
We're like a big family
And
here.
that is Suzanne.
Yes.
Suzanne, she's my assistant.
Shall we go up?
Sure.
Okay. Santa Claus is here. Hi, guys.
Merry Christmas. I have to say, normally I'm a very introverted person. I'm very shy, I'm very reserved. I'm the type that in a crowd, I will watch and observe. I'm more of a one-on-one conversationalist.
Okay, guys, come on in. Have a seat.
Come on in. Come on in. But when I put the suit on and I go out into a crowd, I start being a little more extroverted. I go up to people, and because people are drawn to me when I'm dressed this way, and so it's easier to make contact.
Hey, Santa.
Hey, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Merry Christmas. I'm not one of those loud, boisterous Santas. You know, there are some, and those are great. Kids enjoy that too, but it's not who I am. I'm a little quieter. I still do the usual Santa things, like the ho, ho, ho,
Thank you.
ho.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. But I'll be more inclined to have one-on-one conversations, things like that.
Hi, Santa Claus.
Hi,
I wish you a good Christmas and Happy New Year. You wish that to me?
Yes.
Oh, what a go.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
And I wish you that it's Christmas every day.
Oh, boy, I'm lucky.
Even better, eh? How about that? This is what it's all about. This it really is what it's all about.
Père Noël, je veux des bébés comme les années passées. La promesse que j'avais faite, je l'ai toujours gardée.
Just making people smile and sing songs and just be happy.
Père Noël, n'oublie-moi pas, laisse-moi pas le cœur brisé. Ho, 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 ho.
Thank you.
Great song, Nancy. You have a beautiful voice. I think the spirit of giving is just embedded in the fibers of the suit, and it's almost like a magical coat that as soon as I put it on, I feel their spirit, their energy with me, and I believe that helps propel me into this. I feel them with me. As you may well know, this is a really busy time of year for me, so I'll get going.
Thank you very much.
Wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you. Have a very Merry Christmas. Passez un très joyeux Noël.
Becoming Santa, a documentary by The Current's Kristin Nelson with help from The Current's documentary editor Liz Hoth. I'm Megan Williams, and you're listening to the Friday edition of The Current.